official opening of the County Assembly Center. Honorable Speaker and members, as we celebrate this important milestone, it is fitting that we reflect on the equally important subject of public participation, a principle that lies at the heart of our constitutional democracy. Mr. Speaker, public participation is no longer administrative courtesy. It is the foundation upon which legitimate governance is built. Whether we are making laws, developing policies, planning budgets, or designing security interventions, the voices of the citizens are indispensable. Honorable Speaker and members, when I assumed office as Cabinet Secretary, I made one deliberate decision. Before introducing new security policies, I wanted to hear directly from Kenyans and the officers in the security and administration sector. That decision gave birth to Jukwaa la Usalama, a one-of-its-kind citizen engagement program undertaken by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration across all counties of our republic. And I dare say, Mr. Speaker, this could be the first robust kind of public engagement undertaken on security in the republic. Our engagement forums brought together wananchi, governors, members of parliament, members of county assembly, chiefs, police officers, religious leaders, youth, professionals, business people, and civil society. We did not go to lecture wananchi. We went out to listen. Honorable Speaker and the members, to contextualize the place of citizen engagement in constitutional, statutory, and judicial architecture, I will briefly examine its three components before I come back to what Jukwaa la Usalama was able to do. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 fundamentally transformed governance by moving our country from a system where government merely governed the people to one where government governs with the people. The Constitution recognizes that sovereignty belongs to the people, and the government exercises delegated authority on their behalf. This philosophy runs through the Constitution, as is espoused in several articles, such as Article 1, that vests sovereign power in the people of Kenya, Article 10, which establishes participation of the people as one of the national values and principles of governance, binding every state organ whenever it formulates or implements public policy. Further, Article 118 obligates Parliament to facilitate public participation in legislative process, and Article 174C identifies public participation as one of the principles and objects of devolution. Specifically, Article 196 requires county assemblies, such as the County Assembly of Nzoia, to facilitate public participation in legislative and other assembly business. Even Article 231(1)(d) identifies involvement of the people in policy making as one of the values and principles of public service. Therefore, Honorable Speaker and members, the constitutional provisions on public participation have been reinforced by legislation and institutionalizes citizen engagement across government institutions. The County Assembly Act 2012 establishes elaborate mechanisms for citizen participation in county planning, budgeting, and legislation. The Public Finance Management Act requires public participation throughout the budget-making process. The Statutory Instruments Act 2013 requires consultation before subsidiary legislation affecting public rights and interest is promulgated. The Urban Areas and Cities Act institutionalizes citizen participation in urban governance. Similarly, the Environmental Management and Coordination Act and the Climate Change Act requires public consultation before major environmental and climate-related decisions are made. Public participation has therefore evolved from being merely a constitutional value into a legal obligation, cutting across virtually every sphere of governance. Honorable Speaker and members, guided by the aforementioned constitutional and statutory provisions, the judiciary has equally played a significant role in defining what meaningful public participation entails. The High Court in Robert Gakuru and others versus Governor of Kiambu and others in 2014 held that public participation requires more than merely inviting citizens to meetings. The public must receive adequate information, sufficient time to consider proposals, and genuine opportunities to present informed views. The Supreme Court further developed this principle in British American Tobacco Limited versus CS Health and others. The court held that the public participation must be real, purposeful, timely, and capable of influencing the ultimate decisions. It should never be reduced to procedural rituals undertaken merely to satisfy constitutional formalities. Similarly, in the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission versus National Super Alliance, NASA, Kenya, and others 2017, the Supreme Court affirmed or reaffirmed the constitutional values, including public participation, must be interpreted in a manner that promotes democracy, governance, good governance, accountability, and legitimacy. Indeed, our courts have consistently emphasized that meaningful public participation requires timely dissemination of relevant information, inclusivity and accessibility, adequate opportunity for citizens to express their views, genuine consideration of those views by decision makers, and transparency regarding how public views informed the final decision. At the same time, our courts have acknowledged that Kenya still lacks comprehensive legislative framework prescribing uniform qualitative and quantitative standards for public participation. Parliament has therefore been encouraged to develop such framework in order to enhance consistency, certainty, and predictability. Honorable Speaker and members, traditionally, the security sector operates under command and control model characterized by hierarchy, bureaucracy, and confidentiality. Policies were developed internally. Police officers rarely questioned institutional publicity. Chiefs implemented directives from above. Citizens largely interacted with security agencies only during emergencies and when they are actually victims of that security operations. Honorable Speaker and members, the model was appropriate for its time, but today's security threats are fundamentally different. Criminal gangs are recruited from our neighborhoods. Drug traffickers exploit vulnerable communities. Gender-based violence occurs within our homes. Cybercrime increasingly targets our youth. Cattle rustling affects pastoral livelihoods. Violent extremism exploits social exclusion. None of these challenges can be solved by government acting alone. Security must therefore become a shared responsibility between government and citizens. Honorable Speaker and members, during our engagements across the North Rift region, including Nzoia, and indeed across the country, Wananchi consistently reminded us that security is first experienced at the household level. Farmers spoke about insecurity affecting harvesting and transportation of produce. Parents raised concerns regarding growing menace of drug and substance abuse and cases of marauding gangs among young people. Police officers called for better interagency coordination, raised concerns on escalating drug and substance abuse among youth, and sought to be heard on issues pertaining their welfare. Religious leaders have been doing extraordinary work. The government listened. Following these consultations, additional police goons. I am pleased to report that these operations have yielded significant results. Mr. Speaker, I have had engagement with the leaders here and the citizens of this town, and they truly appreciate the operation that has been done in these areas of Matisi, among others. However, Mr. Speaker, I know they have told me that it should be sustained and permanent so that the people can live in Kitale and its environment in peace. So law and order have been restored in the affected areas, while our security agents have successfully dismantled the operation of criminal gangs, apprehend key perpetrators, and target the financiers and facilitators who sustain these criminal networks. The government remains resolute in its commitment protecting Kenyans. We shall intensify these operations and ensure that the criminal menace is decisively eradicated, not only in the region, but across the entire country. Let me assure the people of Nzoia and all Kenyans that we will not relent until we are safe from goons, from gangs, we secure the country, and we free you from criminal intimidation. I know there is a conversation that is going on in the country about goons and gangs. Mr. Speaker, part of the challenges we face in the security sector is that a number of these goons and gangs, when they are arrested and presented before court, sometimes they are released in very lenient bail terms. And sometimes, because of these challenges, they become emboldened and they continue performing the acts they do. Last year, we faced one of the worst demonstrations in the country, June 25th, where criminal gangs and goons were actually mobilized and brought to the streets and caused havoc. They burned police stations, they burned courts, they looted people's businesses, they stole guns, they stoned police officers and attacked innocent civilians. Mr. Speaker, when we arrested over 3,000 goons and gangs, and whom we presented before court. Unfortunately, most of them were released in lenient terms. Their financials, including politicians, were presented in court, in Kahawa courts, for unleashing terror and presented with charges of terrorism. The same political leaders who are now crying loud about goons and gangs were the first ones to go to court for those people to be freed. I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, that we will be ruthless when it comes to goons and gangs. The plan that we have put in place in the next few days will give assurance to as many Kenyans in every part of Kenya. And I am not pointing finger to any political side, because security does not choose the political side. We will deal with goons and gangs regardless of the political affiliations of the politicians, and the leaders and the business people who are financing them will be dealt with ruthlessly. Mr. Speaker, I hear from the public a number of times saying that the Minister of Interior must become as ruthless as the former Minister of Security, Honorable John Michuki. But people need to appreciate that if we were to be as ruthless as the days of Honorable John Michuki, a number of these constitutional provisions will have to be violated for us to be that ruthless. As a cabinet secretary and a former teacher of law and a law practitioner, I know the challenges that we are navigating through in the security sector today. We must do security operation, but at the same time, we must do it under this new constitutional order. That is why you realize that sometimes the process of justice becomes slow. But I want to assure you that it becomes slow because we have to navigate the new constitutional dispensation, our new constitution that we passed nearly 10 years ago, and 16 years ago. For that reason, therefore, we are addressing the challenges that were raised through Jukwaa la Usalama. Honorable Speaker and the County Assembly members, County Assemblies occupy a unique place, a unique position within our constitutional architecture. No institution is closer to the people than this House. Every law you pass shapes livelihoods. Every budget you approve determines development priorities. Every oversight exercise strengthens accountability. Every public participation forum deepens democracy. I therefore encourage this Assembly to continue making public participation not merely a constitutional obligation, but a culture of governance. Let the people of Nzoia know that whatever this Assembly meets, their voices are represented in this chamber. Let them know that their ideas shape legislation. That is precisely the philosophy that continues to guide us in the Ministry of Interior. Mr. Speaker, let me say this. Having been elected as Senator 3 times, I want to tell honorable members here that being elected to be among the very few 34 county assembly members in this Assembly of Nzoia is a great privilege and honor from the people of Kenya. Don't take it for granted. You will only realize, let me say this, you will only realize when you become a former MCA that you wish you used that opportunity to do something. You know, there are hundreds of people out there who are admiring your position as a county assembly member. Yet, most county assembly members leave the assembly after 5 years having said nothing, you know, having contributed absolutely nothing in the county assembly. It must not happen to you. You have another 1 year to leave your name in the annals of history. There is no greater document that transcends the sands of time than the Hansard of the county assembly. Don't worry whether people are in the assembly or not. Even when you remain here alone with the speaker, as long as nobody has called for quorum, you can talk as long as you want. When the assembly, and I'm telling you this as your brother who has gone through this, when 100 years later, your grandchildren will come and read the records of the county assembly of Nzoia, they will find that their grandfather or their grandmother was a great debater. Yes. They will not know whether there were two people in the assembly or it was you and the speaker alone. Yeah? So I want to encourage county assembly members that this is a very, very important time. Come up with motions. You know, you don't have to come with a bill. You can think about the challenges that the people of Nzoia are having, come up with a motion, come and table it. The best thing I know is that you have a great clerk, you have a great staff of the county assembly. The people who really drive content and advice are the clerks supporting the speaker. So you don't have to know how to draft a motion. Just need to come with the idea to the clerk's office, and they will give you the lawyer or the officer who is there. They will draft for you the motion. The rest is for you to come and read the motion. Now unaongea for the rest of the hours. Sorry for mixing languages, but you can now speak for as long as you want about the issues that are affecting the people of Nzoia. Yes. So, Mr. Speaker, it is my encouragement that take seriously this great privilege and honor. Make sure that you leave a mark, you leave a legacy as a county assembly member serving at this point in time. Mr. Speaker, that is precisely the philosophy that continues to guide us in the Ministry of Interior. Security is no longer the responsibility of the police alone. Development is no longer the responsibility of the government alone. Democracy is no longer the responsibility of the elected leaders alone. Together, through partnership between citizens, county governments, and the national government, we shall build a more secure, more prosperous, and more united Kenya. As a son of this county, Mr. Speaker, I hasten to say that I am a resident of the Nzoia County. Of course, I live the very end of Cherangani constituency. And Mr. Speaker, I also had the privilege of schooling in this county, both primary school and being admitted to one of the greatest schools, St. Joseph's High School, Kitale. I am therefore very, very proud to always come back. I remember my early years as a young boy going to St. Joseph's. When you have to come to town here, you do some small shopping. And Mr. Speaker, you didn't need to take a matatu to go to school. We used to walk to school. It was just very near. St. Joseph is just next door. And Mr. Speaker, as curious young people, sometimes when we got a break, we would come to town here to listen to political rallies. And one of them, I came here to listen to Kijana Wamalwa as he came to address a rally in town here. And I remember also all those early days when President Moi passed through our gate and addressed us at the gate of St. Joseph's High School. So those great memories make me to become a patriotic Nzoian. And I want to say that we will continue working together, regardless of our ethnic, gender, or religious background. We need to work together as a team in Nzoia. I know this assembly has members from different political parties. My clarion call to you is that do not allow ethnic rhetoric, even as we go to the next elections, do not allow ethnic rhetoric that divides the people along ethnic lines to become the cornerstone of our political conversation. Let us, all of us here, indeed, in terms of our deeds and in our actions and our speeches, let us do everything to ensure that we unite the people of Nzoia to become one undivided people, so that when people leave Nzoia, they say, I am Nzoian, not necessarily that I am from this tribe or another. It is unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, that in politics, you find politicians moving around with calculators, calculating ethnic composition of their wards or their constituencies or their county. Mr. Speaker, I long for that day that all of us shall speak in one voice, knowing that we are addressing Nzoian and one united people, children of God, united by the possibility that God brought us to this county, and that we are going to do everything to make sure that next election will be successful. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, this being a highly represented county in terms of ethnic composition, I want to address the country and tell them that to all the preachers of doom, next year will be a very peaceful elections. There will be no violence in any part of Kenya. We are prepared from the security sector, but also the people of Kenya are prepared to reject persons who are going to preach hatred and who will try to bring in matters of violence. I have seen some people drumming or beating drums of war, trying to scare citizens from living and voting in where they live. Mr. Speaker, take it from me. Not just because of you know, Mr. Speaker, I am sensitive to the multiculturalism of Kenya because my children, Mr. Speaker, share an heritage of various ethnicities. And Mr. Speaker, for that reason, and having lived and grown up in this Nzoia and also, of course, Elgeyo Marakwet County, I want to assure the people of Kenya that it is not just my duty as the Cabinet Secretary, it is my deep personal belief that violence is very barbaric, backward, and cannot take our country forward. And therefore, as a Cabinet Secretary, provide leadership in the most sensitive sector of security, I will be very ruthless against enemies of peace and unity. And we will not allow in any way, Mr. Speaker, people to incite Kenyans against each other. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the privilege to address this assembly. As I conclude, I'm confident that the future of the county assembly will, people will be competing even more to come to the new county assembly soon when we open the new chambers. I hope the current members who have contributed I want to thank you, and may God bless you all. May God bless Nzoia County. May God bless the Republic of Kenya. Asanteni sana.
Our guest, who is the CS for Interior, let me make a few remarks before we adjourn. Greetings to His Honorable the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Tell them we look forward for his support, and we welcome him here when he gets time to visit. Number two, may I request that all distinguished members and guests that we will all be upstanding and be in silence as the Cabinet Secretary and the Speaker's procession leaves the chamber. And I hereby want to declare that this House is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, the 21st July of 2026 at 2:30 p.m.